Welcome to Rekindled Faith with Melanie Beerda. Whether you've been wrestling with questions, facing doubt, or simply just uninspired, let's dive into what it means to be authentic followers of Christ. Hello, listeners. Welcome back to Rekindled Faith. I am excited to have my friend Bonnie with us today. Bonnie is a wife, a mother, a wonderful human being, and the co-founder of the Union Movement. Welcome to the show, Bonnie.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back with you.
So I'm excited for this. I'm always excited for podcasting, but specifically this episode because we are going to be talking about a reel that I made, I guess, at the end of summer, where Bonnie and I both went on a backcountry camping trip together. So we survived.
Yes, we
for
did.
those of you that maybe did not see the reel, be sure to check it out. We encountered some wildlife upon that journey. And so really, who cares really? Like Melanie and Bonnie went camping, like who really cares? But this story, this experience actually does have a significant impact on me. I don't know for you, Bonnie, and I think that we can definitely dive into our differing perspectives if they are different. But yeah, I guess first of all, welcome to the show before we get too ahead of ourselves. And second of all, why don't you just share your perspective, your experience, kind of getting ready for that trip, what was going through your head, and then on the adventure up the mountain, what was going through your head?
Nice. Well, I've only ever done one other overnight hike, so I was really excited when I like you and I just happened. We were communicating, and we were saying, "Do you have this date available?" Yes, I do. Okay, let's make it happen. If other women want to join us, that's great. But if not, let's go. So I was just pretty excited to get to go hiking with you, and you were like, "I know a trail, I know a spot." I'm like, "Great, no problem." So we started going, and I was like, "Oh, there's quite a bit of evidence of animals." And we talked on the way of and when I say animals, I'm not like birds and squirrels. Like we're like, is that cougar poop or is that bear poop? Like that kind of. So we were seeing that, and I was like, "What do you think, Melanie? Like, at what point do you turn around?" And you were like, "Well, I mean, if we just stay loud, if we, you know," and I'm like, "Okay, I trust you. That's great." So I felt good. I was just happy. There's a beautiful view at the top, and yeah, I was excited. So what about you?
Yeah, I had a lot of mixed feelings going up and doing it. First of all, I love backcountry camping and everything like that. Adventures, I'm all for it. This specific one, though, I was a little bit scrambled going into it because I had
Right.
just had a pretty severe experience where I was helping somebody that was in a car accident and they literally died in my arms. So I think that the emotional kind of trauma, trying to wrap my head around everything that I had experienced within that setting, and it was on a backcountry road, so it was in the mountains. And anyways, so I had a lot of sensitivity, I don't know, rawness within my spirit after experiencing that because
Yeah.
I've never had somebody die with me on me before. So
Yeah.
coming to the thing, first of all, I'm pretty sure that I at one point was like, maybe I should just cancel because I
Mm.
had this hypersensitivity to death. And I mean, I haven't even been riding my motorcycle this summer. I insured it and I haven't not touched it because there's just been this hypersensitivity to death and I don't
Mm.
want to die. And so anyways, my mindset walking into it was like, okay, I don't feel 100% adventure Mel right now. I feel a little bit, I guess insecure within the context of what usually I thrive in.
Yeah.
And then I have Bonnie telling me because I am with search and rescue. So Bonnie's like, "Oh, I'm so happy that I'm with you because you're search and rescue," and pumping up my tires, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I am nobody. Stop
Yeah.
it." Anyways, so walking up the mountain and everything, I was already a little bit sensitive just about life
And I
experiences that
didn't
have been going on.
know.
I know.
Like, I didn't realize, like, you told me later as we were like having dinner up at our camp, you told me about, that experience that you had had like 10 days before, a week before. And I was like, oh my gosh, just gutted just for you and, for this person who passed away. And so, yeah, I wasn't aware of like the emotional turmoil you were in the middle of. So I knew some other stuff, like we keep in touch, but we don't hang out a ton. So I was glad to be able to hear kind of where you were at. Um, and I think that, yeah, as we will share, that I think the night ended up becoming quite significant.
Yeah, I think we needed to be there. But
Yeah.
yeah, so like going up the trail and then seeing the bear scat on the trail, and I'm just like, okay, well, I've gone like deep backcountry. There's lots of bear poo, you know. I mean, that one that we saw was like a little bit more new, but I also wasn't really concerned because bears tend to like just keep to themselves. They don't really care about
Right.
me. In my experience, I have encountered bears, and yeah, so I wasn't really concerned about the bear poop so much. If there's cougars in the forest, like I get a little bit more scared. I don't want to be around a cougar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like going up and then you're like, so what's on your radar? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, well, it's pretty lame to like for me to think, oh, there's bear poo. I got to turn around and go home now. Like
Hmm.
for me, that in my adventure brain, it's like that's just not reasonable.
Hmm.
And then, but in this sense that I have within my spirit of this sensitivity and this rawness and everything, I was actually a little bit more heightened than I would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
normally been.
Yeah.
So we walked past that, and then the place that I had intended us to set up camp was like all of a sudden there's all these dead trees and like widowmakers, which are trees that have like partially fallen over, and you don't want to have a tent underneath there
Right.
because you don't want to die, preferably. And then
By
like
getting a
also,
tree land on you. Yeah.
yeah, I don't feel like getting squashed by a tree.
No.
And then like woodpeckers had just like destroyed other trees. I've never seen so much damage to trees via woodpeckers.
Hmm.
So it was just like, okay, this is not the spot. We can't set up camp here. Like, so then again, like there's just this like anxiousness in my spirit.
Hmm.
And then forget the trees. Let's go back to the road and like set up in the road. And then so we do. And it's like, it's not like the most beautiful location to camp.
Sure.
It works. I mean, there was no trees around that we were going to be concerned about. But
Right.
then even like everything just seemed off, cuz like
Mm.
even trying to find a tree to put our food in and like
Right.
throwing the rope up, and like they're all just like flimsy. Either they're really really tall and have no branches, or they're super flimsy and just like slop over as soon as the string and the food goes on them.
Right.
So I'm just like, wow, this is just not
Not
what I
working the way I thought.
envisioned. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. And this is only my second, so I'm like, sure, whatever. Like this is probably normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then the mosquitoes started coming out. So after we set up camp or your tent and we ate our dinner, then we started being swarmed by mosquitoes and we're like, okay, well, I guess it's an early night tonight. So I think we were like in our sleeping bags by like 9:30, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And that's like super early for me. So then should I keep going with the story?
Yeah,
So
go. Yeah.
so I think we probably fell asleep by like 10, and then I think it was around midnight. We, we all of a sudden hear some howling of a coyote, and we like both just like wake up. And this is where I realized, and we both just like looked at each other, and we're like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" And then we wait a second, and then we hear another one. And this is where we found out that Melanie so there's like fight, flight, or freeze. We discover that Bonnie does a little bit more of the freeze and like get more information. Kind of, that's my mode. And Melanie, out of like dead sleep, goes into fight mode. And she just started yelling at those coyotes. And just, well, because the first time we could hear that it was like, a little bit of a distance. I live in a rural area. I hear coyotes often. It's not startling to, like, it's not a terrible sound to me, but it's definitely, you're like, I'm in a tent. I'm not as safe as I am in my house. Anyways, so Melanie, you just start like yelling and clapping and like making a big noise. And then I was like, oh yeah, I should probably help. And I was reflecting that one of my favorite things is that you went into like a Southern accent and you were like,
Yes, I
go
did.
on, get. I thought that was fantastic.
I just feel like it's more like intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
Go on now, get.
I'm so confident. I've got a shotgun right now.
That's right. Those coyotes know it.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, oh, there's some Southerners here. Anyways, so yeah. And then we still, I mean, we were in backcountry, but we happened to still have Wi-Fi or data. So then we looked online. You looked up like how dangerous is this? And it was like, oh, coyotes are just curious. They're not going to attack. Like they literally will not attack you, but just get loud and let them know that you're there and that they should just leave you alone. So we got pretty loud.
We did get loud. And you know, it's actually interesting because before the coyotes came, like I couldn't fall asleep because I was like anxious for
Hmm.
all of the things. So I actually ended up writing a little journal entry in the notes on my phone, which I'm gonna read. So this is
That
like
night.
vulnerability 101.
So
You
when
can
I say
now
we fell
fully
asleep, I fell
you fell
asleep
asleep,
like instantly.
deep breathing next to me in peace and solitude, and I'm like, ah!
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
yeah. So
Okay.
this is like vulnerability 101, Melanie exposed.
Okay.
So here it is. I'm filled with anxiety, thinking the worst. There is nothing that has led me to think that I am unsafe at this point, but my heart is racing and my mind is wild. I just want to go home, to be in my bed, to snuggle my babies and be with my husband. I don't want to take risks anymore. I don't want to be outdoors. I was safe. I want safety and security. I'm scared. Something's changed in me as I become more aware of the risks that life brings.
Mm.
Motorcycles, rock climbing, mountain biking, camping, exposure. It's terrifying to me right now, Lord. Please keep me safe tonight. Help me to rest in knowing that you are in full control of my life. I don't want to be outside. I want to be at home. Help me rest. Help this night be silent. Help me get back safely to my kids. Please, Lord. I'm so scared. And then I went on a little bit to talk about like actual hike, but then
Mm.
um my heart is in knots. Why am I so fearful tonight, Abba? Help me feel your presence of peace. Help me breathe. Help me rest. Keep your critters away and keep your stillness present. Lord, I need you. Hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You never told me this. This is
No, I
crazy.
didn't. Because honestly, I'm a percolator. Like I like to
Yeah.
percolate when I'm going through things, and I don't talk about it right away
Sure.
because I need to process. I need to like understand what's going on. But I just like, and I haven't read this since that night, but help keep this night silent.
Mm.
And where else?
Mm.
Help me feel
Interesting.
your presence of peace. Help
Interesting.
me breathe. Help me rest. He did not let me rest that night,
Right.
right? But I
Right.
definitely felt his presence.
Yeah.
And
This,
I didn't feel peace as the world would feel peace, but I
yeah.
felt peace as God gives peace, if that
Yeah.
even makes any sense at
Yeah.
all.
Very interesting. Well, I mean, because when we started getting loud, because the coyotes were getting loud, that we started hearing multiple, and we could tell they were closer, getting closer, and we're like, you know, they're not going to attack us, but we would like to sleep. So then we started getting loud, and then I remember at one point, and we were just yelling at them, get out of here, whatever.
In the
But then I
name of
remember,
Jesus.
yeah, well, I was going to say, and then I remember at one point, you actually shifted to like like it was like such a deep cry in your heart, like I'm just like, God, help us. Right, like it was like you were the one who shifted it actually into prayer, and you started like, in the name of Jesus. And then we would quiet down and be like, did it work? And then we'd hear the coyotes again, and then we would get loud again. And so but the shift came where we started using our time. We're like, we're going to be loud, we have to be loud anyway, and trying to get them to go. Like, why don't we use this time to start praying? And I've yeah, so I'm just, and then it's interesting you saying like, I'm so afraid, like like you're saying like, where's the old Melanie, like why am I so afraid of risk? But it's like, so God didn't give us silence, but he actually gave us what we needed, because what you needed was to fight fear, not just like kind of hide back. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we ended up, I don't even, how long was it? We ended up
It was
praying
like,
for,
yeah, I think it was like it started at midnight and they didn't quiet down until like 4:30 in the morning. And
yeah.
so like, and listeners, like we're literally on like a cliff, like
Right.
overlooking a beautiful lake, lots of
Mm-hmm.
mountains, lots of campsites all around. So like I'm really curious if people were like just sleeping and listening to like Jesus, in the name of Jesus, like yelling out across the distance. And like
Mm-hmm.
we were reading scripture. Bonnie was reading from the Bible off her phone. I think I was too. And
Mm-hmm.
like just praying. And like it was as if all walls came down. Like it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter about,
Mm.
appearing to be perfect or proper or, like just
Yes.
having
Yes.
within that context of like, oh, I have it all together. But it was like, no, like
Yeah.
sure, the coyotes are there. We're scared. I'm scared. Maybe not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm scared. Jump to action. Like, go on, get. I'm a southerner now. And
Uh-huh.
then shifts. Like, no, God, like you are the God of all creation. You
Yeah.
are the one that has all authority in heaven and on earth. Like these coyotes know your name. These coyotes know your voice. And
Mm-hmm.
I trust and believe that ultimately our lives are within your hands and
Yeah.
that you are
Right.
there protecting us.
Yeah.
And like if this is what it calls for in order for us to get to a place of being willing to come together and like have a deep prayer session on a mountain somewhere and
Yeah.
calling out not just for like this moment of like God protect
Yeah.
us from these coyotes, but for our whole society in this
Yeah.
nation, in this moment, at this
Yeah.
time, for such a time as this.
Yeah.
If it
Totally.
took a few coyotes coming
Yeah.
up, yipping at our tent, um, well, first of all, it like I wish that didn't take that, to
Sure.
like
Sure.
enter into that space, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like God will use what he needs to use in order to wake us up.
Yeah. Yeah. To wake us up. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. I think that well, I was actually just talking with a friend yesterday about in scripture. And I know this is like coyotes, it's like we felt like it was the Lord. Like it felt pretty or divinely orchestrated, or at least all things can work together for good. Was like the baseline. It felt like the Lord had this going on. And from some of the things you did share with me over dinner of what you were going through, not only with the tragedy of this person dying in your arms, but other things where you were like, you could just tell you're like, what is happening in my life? Like there was kind of some turmoil going on. It, it, it felt like there was this, it felt like a divine circumstance, and being able to begin to fight together. Anyways, I was talking to a friend last night and just saying how in the Old Testament, it talks about how there were enemies in the promised land. And it said that God would actually like get the children of Israel, the Jewish people, to slowly remove those enemies. And he said, don't, like, you won't even take them all out at once, but I actually want future generations to know how to fight too. And it's like the presence of the enemy, the presence of fear, the presence of intimidation actually lets us grow to become resilient if we will let it. So like in that journal entry you just read where you're saying, I want to be home, I want to be safe. It's like, I think that's in the heart of a whole lot of people right now. I just want to be safe. Like, but I think that God is actually waking some people up, and there's some howling going on outside of our tent that's going, okay, church, will you wake up, and will you not just cower and not just run away or hide in your sleeping bag, but will you raise your voice and will you begin to intercede? I think the first place we raise our voice needs to be at the throne room of God. Like, oh, sure, we all know how to, maybe we can get loud on social media, or maybe we can get loud at the, in the lunchroom at work, or loud in, the family dinner with our extended family, like, oh, get loud there. But do you get loud the place that really matters, where God says, like, ask, seek, keep on asking, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added to you. Like, do you know how to ask the Father for the things that you need and want, and yeah, the resources that you need in order to continue? We got to get loud. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like, yeah, man. Like this summer, like I called it at the beginning of the summer a digital reset of
Mm.
like, what am I doing? What is the point of this podcast? What is the point of Rekindled Faith? Is there a point? Is there a purpose? Is this
Yeah.
like just some way of me trying to like feel good about myself and make myself look good to other people? Like I have this tension with I I want to serve God, and I want to like I feel like I have a gift of being able to speak. Like I enjoy doing it, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time I don't want to be in those spaces. Like I don't have confidence to stand before a crowd with the weight of a microphone and be like, come to Jesus,
Right.
because you should come to Jesus. Like why wouldn't you want to come to Jesus? Jesus
Right.
is awesome. And
Yeah.
like I don't have the confidence to do that. And if anything, this last week since Charlie Kirk has been assassinated has taught me that, first of all, I am a coward. Like, and it's not a woe is me, like, oh, Melanie's a coward, wow, wow, wow. No, I am literally a coward, like
Mm.
ashamed to spread the gospel message because I don't want to hurt other people. I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable, I think is more so.
Right.
Because I
Right.
have people from all different walks of life that I bump shoulders with, like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Like, we do life
Right.
together on a
Right.
regular basis. And who am I to like, you know, withhold something that's going to offer them life and freedom and hope and,
Yeah.
comfort in the midst of the mountain when
Yeah.
the coyotes come against their tent? Who am I to hold that back? For what? Because I'm scared to make them uncomfortable. Well, for
Yeah.
the love of God, they've made me uncomfortable. Why can't I make them uncomfortable too? Like why have I lived in this mindset that I need to shrink back my
Yeah.
relationship with God, my
Yeah.
faith, my Christianity, in
Yeah.
order to make those people that, I mean, there's some people on my personal Facebook that
Yeah.
literally shouted praises at that assassination of Charlie Kirk. And
Right.
you know what? That could be me. I'm
Mm.
not a political person. Like I don't like I honestly I should know more about politics, but I don't. So a work in progress. But
Yeah.
like I love Jesus and I agree with a lot of the things that I've heard Charlie Kirk say in
Right.
regards to Christian faith. Like
Yeah.
I believe that God created us on purpose for the purpose of having a relationship with him. I
Yeah.
believe that we are all called into that relationship. We are all like the wedding invitation within the Bible
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
the king intentionally invited people to the wedding and they're like, no, I got something else going on today, not going to
Right.
make it, sorry. Well,
Yeah.
if you don't want to come to the wedding, then that's your
Decision.
decision
Yeah.
to not come to the wedding. But like you've been invited. So
Yeah.
either take the invitation or
Yeah.
don't. But at
Right.
the end of the day, like I don't know, man. Like I'm just like, wow, Melanie, you are you have been a coward. And I've
Mm.
coded it with this whole idea of like, if I'm nice to people and if I show love and compassion for people, and if people know that I love Jesus, then somehow God will use that to connect them. God will
Yeah. To
use
connect the
me
dots.
totally. Like
Yeah.
God will use that. And I still do believe that God
Yeah.
will do that. But I've also got this sense within my spirit that I need to like do better.
Sure.
And you know what? Like I am not Charlie Kirk, and I'm not trying to like
Mm-mm.
make Charlie Kirk into a god figure because he's just a person just like you and I.
Yeah.
Um but I think like just the fact that he was assassinated for what somebody perspective was hate, that he
Right.
hated them because he did not agree with them or
Mm-hmm.
whoever. So then he deserves to die. And I find it interesting because this world and society talks about being inclusive, and
Yeah.
in the face of uh, disagreement,
Yeah.
inclusivity goes out the window because it
Sure.
doesn't align with
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Yeah.
just like, honestly, I'm confused. And just like in that journal entry, being up on the mountain, I feel
Mm.
exposed. Like I feel this exposure
Mm.
in my soul,
Sure.
and it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with anybody else in this world. But like, hey, Melanie, what are
Hmm.
you doing? Who
Yeah.
are you?
It's
And
so good.
what is your goal? What is your purpose?
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, there's been this passage of scripture. I'm gonna open it. That's been in my mind this last week with everything going on, and um talking about, so the verse is that Jesus talks about how at the end of time that the tragedies that are going to happen in the world are going to be like birth pains. And for those of you who've given birth, you know that the contractions, they start gentle and spaced out, and then they start to intensify and get closer together. That's a sign that you're in active labor. Is like, are the contractions getting closer? Are they getting more intense? Are they starting to not just be isolated in one little spot of your abdomen, but is it wrapping around even? Like, is it spreading? And I think it's interesting that Jesus is like, yeah, the crisis and the chaos is like birth pains. And I think what we have all experienced in this last week, we've seen it to be it's actually was like a global contraction where I'm like, what? Spain, Australia, England, like all over the world. Um, Clips that I saw of people's responses, even like within the church, of like starting to do worship things. It's like, oh, this affected a lot of people. Anyways, so Jesus is talking. He's like, you're going to hear of wars, rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It's going to be famines and earthquakes. These things are merely the beginning of the birth pains. And then this is like what you're talking about, is the opposition, the resistance, the like, yeah. Then they will deliver you to tribulation and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. Obviously, we're not going to be hated by all people in all nations, because I see, even in light of what's happened in this last week with Charlie Kirk, it's like people are actually coming to faith. They're not hating us, but there are those who hate us. Um, at that time, many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. False prophets will arise and mislead many. Because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end, he will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. So, like what you're saying, of like, if people don't hate me, if nobody is resisting me, if no one's against me, like, am I hiding what I actually believe? And I'm with you too. Like, I have like a funny relationship with social media where I'm like, this doesn't feel like the place. Like, it doesn't feel like a good place to like have a debate with somebody. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's my personality, maybe it's this stage of life where I feel like I'm a busy mother. I want to be able to stay present with my kids and not be like distracted by my phone all the time. Maybe the season will shift and God will ask me to engage in that space more in the future. Um, but there is a sense of like, if no one's against you, if the enemy is not resisting you, like, what are you standing for? Are you being honest about what you really believe? And like you said, if we have the solution and we have peace, we have hope, we have this like crazy love, we actually have salvation. Like, we have this knowledge that at the end of my life and at the end of the world, there's actually a life and a world beyond. Like, and you need to be right with Jesus in order for that to be a good experience. You know, I remember there's this verse that says like, it actually is a frightful thing to fall into the hands of a holy God. If we don't have the righteous covering of Jesus over us, if we haven't submitted ourselves under his like, and say like, I accept your sacrifice, you dying on the cross, I accept that as payment for my sin. If we don't do that, then we stand before a holy God uncovered. And we all, like, I know I can't stand. I'm not righteous in myself. I'm not good enough, you know? And so you're right. Like, for us to be more bold and not just hope, like, I hope that our kindness wins them to Christ. It's like, okay, but also the preaching of the gospel is the thing that unblinds. It's a power of salvation. It makes people see where they once were blind. So anyways, that was a long tangent. I went for it there.
I'm here for it. I agree though. Like, God is pure. He is
Yeah.
completely clear of all sin, all unrighteousness. And to think, like, I'm reading in the Old Testament right now, and it's like, to come into his space, his throne room, you have to purify yourself. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why do
Right.
I have to be purified? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I am like that sometimes too, like more so
Mm.
before I gave my life back to Christ, but I still wrestle with some things of, obviously, I mean, y'all just got the exposure of Melanie's soul on this episode. So I'm a
Yeah.
coward, but here we go. But
Hmm.
like, we all like harbor things, to hold on to things, to,
Right.
idolize things within our life that we believe at some level is going to make us feel more comfortable or more safe or more
Yeah.
secure. And maybe that's wearing a little bit of a mask and, like, yeah, sure, going to church on Sunday, but also
Hmm.
not allowing scripture to completely purify your soul.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe your safety blanket is having a resentment towards Christians,
Yeah.
and just like broad brush stroke of all Christians are hypocrites because you've been hurt by some. Maybe that's your safety blanket and how you allow yourself to feel like you can still exist in this world and feel some level of safety. But
Control. Yeah. Hmm.
control and safety. But I
Hmm.
mean, on that mountain, in that tent,
Yeah.
that night, there was this high level of exposure of, what is a tent? It's a backcountry backpacking tent, like literally probably thinner than a piece of paper. Like, if something wanted to destroy us, we would not be here today.
Right.
Um, so knowing that, like, that exposure of being within God's creation, where, there are there's rules for us, there's no rules for God's creation. Like, I
Hmm.
what one thing I love about being outside in nature is that she can kill you and she's not going to listen to your excuses. Like, if you step on the wrong spot on a cliff, you can go down in a second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, she will kill you. Like, she
Mm.
has no mercy.
Right.
um so, like, you must go into the backcountry with a level of awareness of the area that you are in, with
Hmm.
some skills to ensure that you are not going to take unnecessary risks and
Yeah.
put yourself or your friends in danger. And
Yeah.
if you step outside of those safety blankets, then you are possibly going to die.
Yeah.
And you know what? But when it comes to that Christian faith, if we allow ourselves to just always be in that safety blanket, that safe area of,
Mm.
like, not stepping out, not speaking truth, not choosing God in the midst of our peer group, or not like just not
Yeah.
being willing to be used by God in those spaces,
Hmm.
then I don't know, like, that's what kind
Yeah.
of faith is that to be? And like, when I think
Yeah.
of Charlie Kirk,
Hmm.
I don't know if I already said this, but I didn't know his name. I just had seen some videos of him.
Hmm.
So when somebody told me when he died, like, oh, Charlie Kirk got shot, and I'm like, oh, who dat? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't really know until I like looked, and then I'm like, oh, that guy. Like, I know, like, I don't know that guy, but I
Sure. Sure.
understand now who it is. I
Yeah.
related who he was, and something that's resonated deep with me in, like, just this season of my life, like, not necessarily around his death, but in this season of my life, is count the cost of
Hmm.
what it means to follow Christ.
Yeah.
And it should cost you everything to follow
Interesting.
Christ.
Yeah.
If you're not allowing it to cost you everything,
Yeah.
then what kind of faith and what kind of relationship do we really have with God? Because, like, even it says in oh, hold on. So it says, this is awkward with my Bible. It's such a big one. It says in Luke 14, we'll start at verse 25. So, the cost of following Jesus. Now, great crowds were traveling with him. So he turned and said to them, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his own mother or father, I put those in reverse, my bad, does not hate his own father or mother, wife and children, brother and sisters, yes, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And I think when you have
Mm.
like an understanding of scripture,
Hmm.
like that, it doesn't mean that I'm supposed to like disrespect my parents and be like, screw you, mom, I love Jesus.
Right.
Like we're still called to honor our family and our parents and have love and respect for other
Yeah.
people. But at the heart, at the core of everything that we
Yeah.
are we dying to self,
Right.
dying to our family, dying to our lives in order to take up like the
Yeah.
cross and follow after Christ, to seek him with every single thing that we are? Because I have not. I have
Yeah.
not been. Like I have been, okay, God, send me,
Mm.
but not
Yeah.
there because I
Right.
don't want people to not like me. Like I'm a recovering people pleaser, you guys, and I don't want to be disliked because
Yeah.
I offend other people. And I don't know if it's this society that we are in right now, this culture
Sure.
that we are in, where it's
Sure.
like, if you disagree with me, then you hate me, which is not accurate,
No.
because there's a lot of beautiful people in my life that they have made their opinions known and I have loved them.
Yeah.
And now I haven't necessarily made my opinions known.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that when I do, they will not love me because
Yeah.
they are only giving love on condition.
Sure.
And so at the end of the day, when I strip everything back, who
Wow.
is the one that gives me love regardless of condition? Jesus
Sure.
Christ.
Yeah.
He is the one that sacrificed literally everything in order to allow me the blood-stained invitation to
Yeah.
enter into the throne room of God and say, I'm here, Lord. Send
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I worship you. I glorify
Yeah.
you. You alone are the God above all gods. You alone, God.
Yeah. That's really good. I just read like a friend had posted um something called the Martyr's Oath. And I've just been like thinking about it the last couple days. And it's based, there was a book written from a man's experience, went to, I can't remember what the country was, but in an area where to be a Christian was like, you're giving up everything, like your job, potentially your life, you're losing family. Like we've heard these stories before. And there was a Bible college there, and this man got to go and visit and was there for the graduating ceremony of one of the classes of like pastors who'd been trained, pastors and leaders. And before they would be given their graduation certificate, it was like, you're going to need to take this martyr's oath, which was essentially like, I will, I will take up my cross and I will follow Christ to the end. Like, I will not try to seek to save my life. I am willing to lose my life. And then at the end it says like, and I'm not doing this to gain salvation. I'm doing this in response to the gift of salvation. Like that he's already given everything for me, so I am willing to give everything for him. I just think that's so powerful. And there's this, like as you were talking, it reminded me of this verse in Galatians, where Paul says, um, for am I now seeking the favor of men or of God? Am I striving to please men? If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. You know, it's like you can't do both, right? It's like, yes, we love our families, we love our neighbors, we love, like we're called to love, but we're not called to please everybody, you know? And even here's an area that's kind of been on my mind is like, as parents, are we hoping to please our children? Are we trying to, you know, like, or are we willing to be radical as parents? Sometimes I remember actually being like an 18 or 19-year-old and looking at like a generation of grown-ups and just thinking like, are you settling? Like, are you just like trying to get the good life? Are you just trying to live normal? And I remember saying like, I don't want to live a normal life. Like I want to. And I was trying to figure that out as a teenager. And for sure had to, you know, so I look back and I'm like, Jesus, why did you even give me the time of day? Like Bonnie, you had such mixed affections for the world and for yourself and for the Lord. Like, and I hope that when I'm 80, I look back at myself now and go, oh, Bonnie, you had such mixed affections. Like, because we grow in our sanctification, in our consecration, offering our lives to the Lord. But there was that like cry in me of like, I want something different. Like I want a life that's different. But then you start getting older and you realize the pressure doesn't lessen. Like you, as a teenager, you're like, oh, there's a lot of pressure to conform. But you go into your 20s, you go into your 30s. Now I'm at the doorstep of my 40s. I'm like, oh, there is pressure to conform, to just live normal and to just settle down. Like, stop being so radical. Why does everything have to be such a big deal? You're just like it's like my heart is to be consecrated to the Lord, but then I feel this message in my head that's just like, you're a legalist. Like, you people think, like you're just too tight. And I would say, even as a mother, I feel the wrestle in my kids' lives of them starting to go, am I going to be all in or not? And why are my parents so weird? Why are they trying to live this consecrated life? But I was thinking about this last night, is like, moms and dads, like, what do you want? What do you want for the next generation? And are you willing to set the example? We might pray for our children that they would be fearless, that they would be full of love, that they would radically obey God. But then do we seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, trusting that all things will be added? In what ways do we not? And those are the areas that I think the Holy Spirit, like, if we can talk about these contractions, like, it's squeezing something. Like, it's Romans chapter 8 says that all of creation is eagerly waiting for the revealing of the sons and daughters of God. And then it goes on to say, like, creation is kind of like, is actually groaning in these birth pains. And then it says, and we are groaning for the redemption of our bodies. And it says the spirit is groaning. And it's like, are we joining in that, like, let new life come out of me, right? Like, if we think of contractions, it's like, could new life be birthed out of this suffering, out of this trial, of what's happening in this season? Can that happen in my life? We lean into it, or do we just come to the point of, it says in Isaiah, come to the point of delivery and have no strength to push, and we just give up, and life is lost? We're really at, this is life or death for the young generation. I just heard last night of a young woman, a grade 8 student attending church, commits suicide, you know? And it's like, that's increasing, and we can't just keep going on like we're like normal. This is serious.
It is serious. I agree. And an area of interest for me is the increase in mental health issues that's going on, and like suicidal thoughts for people and stuff like that. And I'm sorry to hear about this young girl from your church.
Oh, it's not from our church. Sorry, someone
Oh,
who from our church knows her.
oh, okay. Well, still
Yeah,
a
still,
life
I know.
lost. And, you
Totally.
know, I often think like the world is longing for connection. And, I think in the context of children, they are longing for connection. And if they are unable to connect to healthy grown-ups, then who will they connect with? At
Yeah.
some level, they're going to connect with their peer group.
Mhm.
But I also think, like, back in my own time, my own life, like, my mom would take me to Bible study at her friend's house, and all the kids would be shooed downstairs into the basement. And sometimes girls would like pinch me and stuff, and they were very mean. I didn't like going to Bible study. And
Mhm.
then, like, all of those grown women that sat upstairs on the couches, I did not have a relationship with them at all. Like, I
Mhm.
was not living life with them. They were not, in my eyes, somebody that I could go to if things got hard. And it was like that whole time of my upbringing, my child life, my first boyfriend was like a drug dealer, and he was significantly older than me.
Yeah.
Um, there's a problem there. Like, why am I
Right.
connecting to somebody that is very much not a healthy individual?
Right.
Uh, there's a problem.
Right.
And this isn't a problem that's just like magically gone away now that I'm a grown up and everybody else under my generation is just fine.
They're doing
This is
great.
a
Yeah.
reality. This is a
Yeah.
reality that, and like predators and creeps and just like toxic human beings, they know exactly what to say, what
Mhm.
to do,
Right.
how to, like, they know how to manipulate and contort and
Yeah.
control. And where are the healthy grown-ups? Because, like, even as I was growing up and involved with various activities, there was always some sort of protection layer placed for the healthy grown up and the children, and for various like obvious reasons of like not becoming abused or whatever. But I
Yeah.
just kind of wonder, and this is something that I'm still, again, I'm a percolator, so I'm percolating on
Yeah.
this thought. But this is something that I think about, is that we're pushing our kids away from healthy adults. And
Hmm.
where are they going to go? Either
Yeah.
their peer group or to unhealthy adults.
Sure.
And I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what came to mind as you were sharing.
Yeah. Well, I think that was, I remember on our walk down the hill the next morning as we were celebrating that we made it through the night and got a few hours of sleep. Um, I think we ended up talking about that, like the shift that we see the need in the church to move away from these like online social media celebrity figures or the pressure to be one in order to make a difference, and a shift back towards the mothers and fathers who um, will just take a minute to invest in the younger generation. I remember you sharing about, your dad's friend who meant so much to you and invested in you. And I think, um, yeah, we got to be those types of people. I was thinking this morning about some youth leaders I had who took the time to help me wrestle through my faith, and who would drive me home after youth, and or take us to McDonald's after and answer our questions. And I it's like, yeah, there's the Charlie Kirks. There's the people who thousands and thousands of people know their name. And then for me, there's the Heidi Suderman and the Matt Schoberg that maybe nobody knows their name, but they left a deposit in my heart. Matt taught me how to use Bible study tools that I still use to this day, you know? And he's the one who said, I think you should think about preaching, Bonnie. And I was like, what? Like, I'm 16, 17 years old. That's crazy. But he planted this seed, and it's Heidi who would drive me home from youth and listen to my heartache as a teenager, right? It's like we can all do a little bit. Like we just got to push. We got to push back. We got to fight back. Like we can't just sit cowering in our tents. Like we got to get loud.
Absolutely. And we got
Yeah.
to be willing to I mean, I've referenced Greg Koukle's book Tactics quite often on my podcast,
Mm.
but what a good book. And I think
Mm.
that's what Charlie did, is he offered space for people to have dialogue, and like he spoke truth into the
Mhm.
lives of people that, I mean, some of those clips, those people are very confused and just talking around in circles.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like he gave them a microphone.
Yeah.
He gave them the space and the time to be able to come forward and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to do that in my life. I don't need to be Charlie
Mm.
Kirk. I don't need to have hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
trying to like talk to me. Um, but in my real everyday life, I want to be that place where somebody can come and land and be like, hey, Melanie, what do you think about this? What
Yeah.
do you really think about this? And that I can openly share, and that we can disagree, and that can
Right.
be okay. But
Yeah.
that can also offer up opportunity for both sides to reevaluate, what do you believe and why do you believe it? And are you going to
That's so
continue
good.
believing it, or are there some changes that are going to happen?
That's so
That's what I
good.
want. I want to be able to, have those conversations. And it's scary because there's a lot of hatred in the world.
Sure.
There's a
Sure.
lot of people that are quick to slander, quick to cancel,
Yeah.
but I don't want to live life scared. I don't
Hmm.
want I don't want to put a wet blanket over my love for Christ and honestly,
Yeah.
what he has done in my life. Like
Yeah.
I would have I was on a path of becoming like a drug addict on the street. Like I should have
Hmm.
overdosed and be dead. Like I was
Right.
doing cocaine, and like specifically I think about this one time where I should be dead. And you know what? Like I didn't I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
dead. And if I think back even further, it's like my mom was told by two of the men in her life to get an abortion. And she said no. Like, why am I here? Like
Yeah.
I don't need to be Charlie Kirk, but I want to be able to speak life into the people that I encounter for such a time as this.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to hide my faith or hide what I believe or hide who I am at the
Yeah.
very core as a
Yeah.
follower of Christ, as a child of
Yeah.
God, just to make somebody else feel comfortable
Yeah.
for a blip in time.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make me down myself, guys.
So good. It's so good. And I think that I mean, something you said when we were up on that mountain, and I know I've told you this, but I think what you're doing here, even in this podcast space, is a unique expression of the heart of God. And you set up on the mountain, you were talking about the work you do with search and rescue. And I was like, you love it, hey? And you were like wrestling with it, of like the difficulty that it can be. But you just said, I just want to bring people home. I want to see people come home. And I think that's what I see in your heart for like what you're doing here in this podcast, and I think in your life. Like I think that God is actually has you as a bit of a bridge, because not everybody knows how to like step outside the walls of the church and the walls of the Bible study, and it's like, no, 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 come home. Like there's a space for you. Because I think there's a lot of people wandering right now, whether they're like prodigal children who've run away and just like use their inheritance and destroyed their lives and are like, I am in shambles and I have nothing left, or they've just wandered and they've just stopped calling home. They've just stopped coming home for dinner, and they're like, I don't know, is there still a space for me? It's like, yeah, there is still a space for you, and I love that I see it so clearly that that's your heart, is to like to take, like to show what the atmosphere of the home is, and come and bring it and say like, this is available, like, come on back. And it's been so beautiful to see the number of um people who've never followed Jesus start to like, I need to read a Bible, I need to go to church, I don't know what's going on, but I'm doing it. That's happening. And then there's also the people who are like, I haven't been in church in 20 years, or I haven't read a Bible in a long time, since I was a child, and something's calling me back. And so as much as this is a serious, somber time in the world, it's like the harvest is white, and we need I love that Jesus like, pray for more workers. And I think what you're saying here is like, come on, people who know the truth, like, let's be workers. Let's not just, again, eventually you have to swing the sickle and go, harvest, here we go, come back and, you know, be collected into the family of God.
Yeah. Like Jesus was not willing to give up giving us the opportunity, right? Like
Right.
he went, everybody made fun of him.
Yeah.
Everybody, like one day everyone's praising him, the next day everyone's cursing him. And he went up
Yeah.
to that cross and he died a horrifying, disgusting death.
Yeah.
And what do we get from that?
Mm.
All of eternity, an invitation
Yeah.
to right relationship with God, that
Yeah.
we can be completely cleansed and purified. Oh my gosh. Like I don't
Yeah.
deserve it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was an enemy of God because
Yeah.
of my own bitterness and my own resentment for many
Mm-hmm.
years. And I
Mm-hmm.
slandered the church and I slandered Christians and I freaking hated them.
Mm.
And now look at me. Like
Right.
and it's not because of my strength or my power or my ability. It is solely because I want to do right by God and
Right.
I want to do right by my brother and my sister. And
Yeah.
if being vulnerable and sharing the truth of what God has done for my life
Yeah.
um, is going to help other people be drawn into the truth of who Christ is and why he died for them,
Yeah.
then Lord, let my life be a living sacrifice for you.
Yeah. That's so good.
And like that's counting the cost.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe right now I'm on that spiritual high, and maybe tomorrow, Bonnie, you'll have to smack me upside of the face and tell me to get out there and harvest. But that's the beauty of the church, is that we come together as a body of Christ, and we come
Right.
together and hold each other accountable, lift
Yeah.
each other up, and
Yeah.
continue pressing on.
Yeah. Remind each other of who we really are and what we really want. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Bonnie, thank you. Thank you for coming on to Rekindled Faith today. Man,
yeah.
I could keep talking, but you know
Yeah.
what? I signed up for Bible college, so I'm going to go educate myself.
You got class starting soon.
I do.
Yeah. You're such a joy, Melanie. You're such a gift. And it's beautiful to see. It's beautiful to see what the Lord does with his disciples, that he is patient and he just slowly works it into us. And some days we feel like we're dying, and then the next day he resurrects us, and it's like the cycle over and over again of, yeah, the same power that raised Christ Jesus from the dead is at work inside of our mortal bodies. And, we just keep saying yes. I remember hearing, if you don't quit, you'll win. And there has been so many times where I'm like, I sure hope you're right, because I feel like this is death right now, but it's like then to watch the Lord raise you back up and new strength and resilience. And that's what it was. It was really special to be on that mountain with you and to see. Yeah, I just remember you praying such a prayer of surrender, like, Lord, whatever it looks like. You were saying that, over a month ago. It was the same prayer, Lord, whatever it looks like. I just want to say yes to you. And so I'm glad to be your friend and glad to be able to say yes alongside each other. So,
Amen.
yeah, we'll see what the future holds. See what the Lord does.
Yeah. God is
Yeah,
faithful.
that's right.
There's in Luke chapter 6, verse 12 says, during those days he went out to the mountain to pray and spent all night in prayer to God. That was Jesus.
That's
So
so
I
cool.
think, like, for the listeners, it's okay to take a season to step back and go into the mountain, whether that's a real mountain or just taking a step back and spending time in prayer with God. And I think if there's any advice I have, it's get used to not having the game plan, because you don't have to worry about the game plan.
Yeah.
God has it covered. And as long as you're seeking out his direction for your life and not allowing other influences to pull you away from him, but truly surrendering over to the care of the God that created you and knows every single part of your inner being, I promise you, yes, the road will be hard. At times, it will be very hard, but there is a peace and a strength that overwhelms the spirit beyond anything that this world
It's
could
true.
ever offer.
Yeah.
So be encouraged, and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
thanks
joy.
again.
Yeah. Joy to be here with you.
All right, listeners, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Rekindled Faith. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to be here, to do this, to have these conversations, and to hopefully encourage you on your journey to rediscover the goodness of our God. If you would like to reach out, feel free to check out my website. It will be in the show notes. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of those things. Bye for now.